और डॉक्टर आर एम पटेल साहब आ गए हैं, उमेश पाल जी आ गए हैं, डॉक्टर प्रीति निगम भी आ गई हैं, झांसी से हैं। डॉक्टर प्रीति निगम फ्रॉम झांसी, यूपी। डॉक्टर भूपेंद्र नाथ फ्रॉम इथोपिया, गुड इवनिंग। डॉक्टर भूपेंद्र, you deliver very nice lecture yesterday, very fine, and you cover all the sectors of economy. Dr. Bhupendra ji, good evening. Upasana Srivastava from R.A. Mahila Degree College. Welcomes all the participants. Divyansh.
Yes sir.
मुमुक्षु गीत स्टार्ट कर दीजिए।
Okay.
मुमुक्षु संकुल गीत will start.
शिक्षा संकुलम् हरे सरे गा हरे सरे गा रे गा मा मा गा रे गा मा गा मा पा पा मा गा मा पा मा पा दा गा पा मा पा दा पा दा नी नी दा पा दा नी सा सा नी दा नी सा नी सा नी रे सा नी सा सा नी दा नी दा पा दा दा पा मा पा मा मा गा रे गा रे सा आनंद मंगल मंगलम। कुलम आनंद मंगल मंगलम जय जयति शिक्षा संकुलम। आनंद मंगल मंगलम आनन्द मङ्गल मङ्गलम् जय जयति शिक्षा सङ्कुलम् नवचेतनाया मन्दिरं संस्कार संस्कृतिभावितं सर्वे गुणाः सुसमाहिताः भारतमखिलमभिराजितम् बहुविविधविद्यावर्धनम् जय जयति शिक्षा सङ्कुलम् आनन्दमङ्गलमङ्गलम् जय जयति शिक्षा सङ्कुलम् आनन्दमङ्गलमङ्गलम् जय जयति शिक्षा सङ्कुलम् ये जना राष्ट्र समर्पिता देशामियं पुण्याधरा देशाय स्वाहा सर्वमिति भावेन हृदयमपूरितम् देशास्य भारतन्दुरम् जय जयति शिक्षा सङ्कुलम् आनन्दमङ्गलमङ्गलम् जय जयति शिक्षा सङ्कुलम् आनन्दमङ्गलमङ्गलम् जय जयति शिक्षा सङ्कुलम् हरे सरे गा गरे सरे गा रे गा मा मा गा रे गा मा गा मा पा पा मा गा मा पा मा पा दा दा पा मा पा दा नि नि दा पा दा नि सा सा नि दा नि सा नि रे सा नि दा नि दा पा दा पा मा गा मा गा रे सा
This is our Mumukshu Shiksha Sankul song, which is sung by Dr. Kavita Bhatnagar, who is head of the music department of this college. Now, we begin the program with the blessings of Swami Shukdevanandji Maharaj and Swami Chinmayanandji Maharaj. Now, I would like to request Ms. Brijlali that they start the program and invite Mr. Visheshwar Acharya Ji Nepal, who is co-convener of this international webinar, and introduce him. Ms. Brijlali.
Thank you, sir. A very good evening to all the participants, respected dignitaries, faculties, guest speakers, and a warm full pranam to Paramadani Chinmayanandji and the principal and convener of this international webinar. Here, to begin this webinar, I would like to invite for the welcome address Mr. Visheshwar Acharya, the co-convener of this international webinar from Nepal. Sir is the founder and president CEO of Naval Academy, Nepal. He was also the resource person in 5th International HR Summit in 2018 organized by GHSIMR India. Sir was also the keynote speaker in British Council Partner Schools, Global Network UK, as well as Lion Leadership Camp conference held in 2017 in Colombo, Sri Lanka, and various such programs. Sir has also traveled many countries in the world. Here, I would warmly like to invite Mr. Visheshwar Acharya sir for his welcome address in this international webinar on impact of COVID-19 on global economy.
Thank you so much
Thank you, sir.
for the wonderful introduction of mine. Very good evening and namaste from Nepal. I would like to welcome all the dignitaries, academicians, researchers, students from SSPG College, Nobel Academy, and around the world to this second day of this webinar. A respected principal of the college, Dr. A.K. Mishra, sir. We have very distinguished and eminent speakers from different countries. 5 countries are representing in this webinar. Dr. Anurag Agrawal, sir. Eminent speakers, academicians, all the researchers, students from SSPG College and Nobel Academy. Good afternoon and namaste once again. This is the second day. Session of yesterday was very mesmerizing. On behalf of organizing committee and Nobel Academy family from Nepal, I extend heartfelt thanks and appreciations to the speakers, those who have shared their valuable remarks on their thought studies. What are the challenges we have been facing, not only the education institutions around the world, but also the organizations, industry, and in a global arena. Our main objectives of this today's international webinar is to bring together educational practitioners from around the world to develop our ideas, share great practice, and inspire each other to find the solution to shared challenges. We are having same problems around the world wherever we live. That boundary is not working anymore. So everybody facing the same challenges, same difficulties. So during these challenges time also we look forward the opportunities. So from the yesterday's also we have learned so many challenges that we have been facing around the globe. And yesterday's speakers also, they mentioned the way out, how to move forward from this pandemic. I congratulate all the 5 eminent scholars, those who present a study themselves. Dr. Bhupendranath Gupta from Ethiopia, Mario Boris from Switzerland, Dr. Isemi from Ethiopia, Dr. T.M. Ensol from Ethiopia, Professor Hamid Saremi from Iran. For their utmost presentations, we were highly enlightened by their presentation yesterday. Similarly, we have a very respected speakers this evening. I would like to welcome all our distinguished scholars and students again to our second sessions. We pretty much sure that today's eminent scholars will deliver their ideas and their outcomes from this impact of global economic by this corona. We are extremely delighted to welcome our much awaited professors all the way from Oman. He's very young and energetic. He's the role model to the youth, Dr. Syed Ahmad Khan. Through his network, Nobel Academy and myself, we are able to collaborate with SSPC College, and he introduced us to work closely with Anurag sir, and he gave us permission to work closely together with all the academicians in this platform. Similarly, we have speakers from Nepal this evening and speakers from India, of one representing our college, Nobel Academy, our very distinguished professors, Dr. Srinivas Madhavan will be sharing his ideas, what we Nepali people are suffering here from this pandemic. We have learned so many things from around the globe, and this is the time to understand about ourselves also. At the same time, Dr. Ramchandran from India will also share his ideas and views on the topic. We express our most sincere gratitude to our speakers this evening once again. I thank you so much once again for participating in the webinar from my core of heart. Without your presence in this webinar, wouldn't be so successful. By this time, we have already 170 participants, and we have also live on YouTube, and hundreds of participants are also observing this webinar. Let us work together in the days to come in the futures. After lockdown, when life will get the normal or comfortable, I would like to invite all of you, those who are present in this platform, to visit our place, Pokhara. This is known as very beautiful city in the world. We usually say heaven on earth. So after this corona, after normal life, I would like to request to manage your some time to visit our place also, so that we can discuss more in persons. So without taking much more time, I would like to welcome once again to our eminent scholars, organizing committee, chairperson, principals, Anurag sirs, today's guest of honors, and all the speakers on this platform. We'll really have the great insight this evening again. Thank you so much for listening to us. Thank you so much for providing this opportunity to work as a co-convener. I would like to congratulate, and I would like to give many thanks to the SSPG College and to the organizing committee and the eminent scholars this evening. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Namaste once again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your welcome address. This international webinar is organized by Faculty of Commerce and Research Studies, Swami Shri Devanand Postgraduate College, Shahjahanpur, Uttar Pradesh, India, in academic association with Novel Academy, Pokhara, Nepal. Here, I would like to invite our today's session first resource person speaker, Dr. Srinivas Madhavan from Nepal. Let me introduce him. Respected sir is presently working as senior coordinator in Novel Academy, Pokhara, Nepal. He is PhD in economics, MCom and BCom honors. He was also worked as vice principal in Prime Academy and also worked as faculty of economics in Global College and in other various colleges. He is also well versed in MS Office and other teaching aid tools. I would warmly like to invite our resource guest speaker, Dr. Srinivas Madhavan, to deliver his opinion on our today's session.
Thank you, Brijlali. First of all, can you hear my voice?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
First of all, behalf of Novel Academy, I will pass my heartily gratitude to SS College for giving this opportunity. You can say it's a golden opportunity for us. So because there is always a time barrier, half an hour. So I will start my presentation and I am sharing my screen. My mainly focus is on the ground reality of Nepal after this lockdown and the pandemic. May I share the screen if you allow us, sir?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You can share. Yes, visible.
Is it visible to everyone?
Visible.
So just I will start, before starting this global and Nepalese economy, just only for 2 minutes, I want to go 10 years back. Basically, before 10 years back, there was a big political unrest in Nepal. And after that, it came down. And before 5 years, there is a massive earthquake. There was a massive earthquake. We lost more than 10,000 lives. Just after that, undeclared blockade, again we survived. And after this, It's a global pandemic. And we are trying to survive. So I will show all the things in my PowerPoint slides. Please give your enough time and watch. My main agendas. Impact on global economy, impact on Nepalese economy, a catalyst for entrepreneurship, role of entrepreneurship in Nepal after post-COVID. So I am going to cover these agendas in this half-an-hour session. COVID-19 global impact. Global pandemic disrupted the world, including the topmost countries. All over the world, all over the globe, somehow we are suffering from this pandemic. None of the country is away from this pandemic. So in this economic and businesses, growth impacted drastically trillions and trillions of loss all over the world. And who is going to bear this loss? And this impact of the loss will go for years and years. And especially in the case of Nepal, of course, we have very small economy. And overall, I think somebody please don't handle my slides. Overall, in Nepal, the maximum development activities are abandoned, especially in this pandemic. Only the revenue expenditures are there. Capital expenditures reduced very drastically. So this is a question mark for Nepal. And second, society and politics. Socio-social aspect of humans. I will tell you the clear example. And this is not the example, this is the truth. In this 4 months pandemic, 1105 people, Nepalese people committed suicide. And this is not only for the pandemic. They are not affected by the coronavirus. Maybe they are affected with the hunger. They are unable to see their future. They are feeling dark. There is no future. So see the condition. See the condition. And 3-4 days before, we got one news. One girl, 18 years girl, she committed suicide because they are unable to afford the smartphone. Due to this, she is unable to attend the online classes. So you see the condition. You see the condition. And you see the health standards. Where is the human rights? Socio-economic inequalities, the gap between the rich people and the poor people, that is getting wider and wider in Nepal. Not only in Nepal, somehow it is connected with India and somehow it is connected with Ethiopia and all other countries. Because Ethiopia is contributing 6% of the global poverty. India is contributing 5%. Bangladesh 4%. Somehow almost all South Asians are affected. The economic activities, and you see the present condition of India also. Some of the rich peoples, they are purchasing islands and they are spending the time, lockdown time in that island. And some people are dying with the hunger. There is one genuine case near about 4-5 days before. I have studied somewhere in Indian media. There is one place that is known as Orissa. And in that there is one small city that is known as Kalahandi. One lady, she sold 9 years child to the traffickers at the cost of 900 rupees. This is the actual condition. This is the ground reality, which none of the media wants to show. And political and social unrest is there. Would you think, Sahab, this is the right time to talk about the political and social unrest? The Galwan India-China dispute, India-Pakistan dispute, Nepal-India dispute, Kala Pani Limpyu-Dhara dispute. Would you think this is the right time? On one hand, we are talking about Vasudev Kutumbam. And in the second hand, we are talking about the political disparities, the social unrest. In this pandemic, Sahab, only in Nepal, 4% crime was increased. 4% crime was increased. Of course, I'm extremely sorry. There is some technical complications over here. And there is completely social unrest. And I'm telling you the fact, if the pandemic will go for only for 3 months, I'm not talking about 6 months or 1 year. If it goes for 3 months, 30% of the private schools in Nepal, they are going to shut down. For last 4 months, none of the private teachers, because I am from the educational background, none of the private teachers, we are getting the salary. And all in the big companies, they deducted 40 to 50% salaries. Can you imagine, Sahab? We can sustain, as the Nepali, I'm asking the question, can we sustain? And the same thing is happening in India also, because somehow directly or indirectly, we are related with India. 70% of the trade we are doing with India. So where we are and where we will be in future, this is the main question. From where the virus developed, whether it's from the biological lab or from the fish market, we will discuss in future. Maybe we have sufficient time, but now the question comes, we have to survive. Again, I am requesting somebody is handling my slides, please. Thank you. So where we are, and as an economic superpower, India has the much more responsibility to serve the neighbors. Would you think if we neighbors are in unrest, then definitely there will be a question mark for India also. If there is Vishwanath, we have Pashupatinath. We are born in the same family. Before the democracy, it was only the Hindu kingdom. So India has to, I'm not asking any help from India. I'm asking support from India as a friend, as a good friend. Second, the financial structure, share market declines, totally declines. Comparatively, India, our share market is only 2%. India deals in millions and millions, some 20 lakh crores, and we will deal with only 2,000 crores. For last 4 months, there is no share market. At least the bull market is totally shut down. The investments are decreases. And nobody is ready to do the investment. And health and education, let's cover another point, loss of life. There are nearly 13,000 cases in Nepal. And as the aspect of the India, anyone can say 13,000 is nothing we will found in India in one district. But the population is also 3 crores in Nepal. And India, there is 130 crores. And we are not ready, even we are not ready for the 13,000 cases. We have only 20 ventilators. Can you imagine with the 20 ventilators, we can treat 13,000 people, 13,000 infected people? So that is the, and let's come to the educational sector. For last 4 months, educational sector is totally abandoned. It is collapsed. Something it is collapsed. Just now I told, if it will go for 3 more months, 30% of the, more than 30% of the private schools and colleges are going to shut down. The teachers are not getting salary for last 4 months. And the nightmare is that the elementary level teachers, they are working in the construction sites as a labor. As a labor. Really, Saab? Please don't think I'm shouting. I'm not shouting. My frustration is coming out because this is the ground reality. And if it will go for some more 3 months, really, I will throw all my degrees and I will search for one construction site to feed my family. This is the ground reality. Millions and millions of people. According to the IMF, nearly more than 20 lakh people are going to lose the jobs only in Nepal. So how the survival will be, where, how we are going to survive, where we are going to stand. We are not in America, we are not in Japan. Our economy is already low. We are suffering from last 10-15 years. Production loss. We have very few big companies in Nepal, and in this pandemic they reduced the production by 50%, and they reduced the salaries of the employees by 50%. And the horrible case is that in the tourism sector, Nepal is one of the tourism hub in South Asia, and some people told this is the Switzerland of South Asia. Yesterday, our Dr. Gupta told that somewhere he saw some people saw the Himalayas from Jalandhar. Here, from everywhere you can see the Himalayas. That much of beautiful country is this. And nearly 9% of our GDP will come from tourism. And for last 4 months, we don't have a single tourist. Hotels have converted into quarantines. And the nightmare was that in the tourism industry, they are getting only 12.5% salary per month. Even not 50%, even not 30%, 12.5% salary they are getting. This is the actual ground reality of the pandemic. This is the impact in the economy, the ground impact on the economy. The global growth maximum, yesterday all the people discussed about it. The IMF estimate of global economy growth growing at -3% in 2020 outcome, far worse than 2009 global financial crisis. Not only don't compare with 2009 global financial crisis, it was too low. Let's compare with 1930 recession, and the time is coming for the Great Recession. The shopping malls, the stores are full of commodities, but there is lack of consumers. Even we don't want to spend money. If I have 1,000 rupees, I don't want to spend, because I don't know what is going to happen tomorrow, because somehow I am feeling that I am not secure. I'm talking about Nepal, and something it is connected with India also. I'm not feeling that I am secure. There is some technical issues, please. I'm very regret. Somebody is handling my slides. It's going automatically. Same thing has happened in 1930 recession.
Nobody handling your slides.
Sure, then I think there may be
Any
some
technical problem?
Yeah, might be, sir. Sorry.
Okay.
Same thing with 1930s recession. Our purchasing power decreased by 15%. Economies such as US, Japan, UK, Germany, France, Italy, and Spain are expected to contract this year by 5.9%, 5.2%, some minus growth. Even in India, they are talking about 2.1% economic growth, but I think it was hypothetical. According to the IMF, they are predicting India's economic growth will also come in negative. They are predicting, of course, in case of Nepal Rashtra Bank, they are telling you we are growth of 5%, but again it is you can say it is totally hypothetical. It might be 1.2%, or it will be declined in negative. So maybe the worst condition will come in the future. This is the graph of global poverty. After 2014, the graph came down up to 2020, and drastically it is increased in first quarter. And maybe it is going to adjust in 2021, might be. And as per the IMF, 40 crores of Indian population, they are going to push in the poverty. And that may not be a relative poverty, that might be an absolute poverty. And 80 lakh people of Nepal, they are going to push into the poverty. The serious condition is there. This is the ground impact. Maybe we are going to survive. Even I am telling maybe. But when, it will take time. And there will be a survival from the India side that will be most positive. So India has to look after the neighbors, especially a friendly country like Nepal. 30 lakh Nepalese people, 30 lakh Nepalese people, they are working in India. They are working in India. 50,000 Nepalese persons, Gorkha warriors, they are serving the borders of India. So I think India has to take chance. This is the actual impact. This is the data. The population is close to be 3 crores. Total cases infected 13,000. It might be increased because yesterday I prepared the data. Every hour the COVID cases are increasing. These are some recovery cases. Deaths 29, but right now one more person is increased to 30. We don't have proper quarantines. So it might be possible that in future the death rates will increase very drastically. This is the actual graph I collected from IMF. In 2019, there was expected 7.1% economic growth in GDP. Now it declines to 1.2%, or it might be in negative. There is only one single airport, international airport in Nepal, right present, currently operated, that is Kathmandu Airport. And 2 other airports are in progress. One is in Bhairava, close to the Indian border, near to the Gorakhpur, 100 kilometers from Gorakhpur, and another is Pokhara. After this pandemic, the working capacity is totally came down with 50%, and we are planning to start that international airport in 2021. Maybe it goes to 2025. This is the position, this is the condition. Just I covered, because when I studied in India, but it's quite long before, we used to sing one song in Hindi, Hum honge kamyab. So we shall come over. So I always remember that song, and let's be positive. Maybe in future we will come with the solutions. So what are the affected sectors? Largely immunosectors, hard hit sectors expected to recovery in short time, but I am not telling you the short time is for 1 day or 1 week. It might be few months or few years. And another hard hit sector, sorry, there is some. Another hard hit sector, long-term impact, there may be a slow recovery. Another hard hit sector, not recovered, lost income. Let's categorize this. Large immunosectors, salaried employees, permanent. It means especially you can convert into the government employees. Of course, they are not getting DA this year or maybe next year, but they are getting salaries on time. Farmers, crops, vegetables, of course, in this daily needs farmer crop vegetable, this demand was decreased by 2.6%, but it might be grow very soon. Sorry. And daily consumed foods, e-commerce, definitely it is the immuno sector. And short-term recovery, let's expect the professional services. There might be short-term recovery. Construction projects, electrical, electronic goods, garments, liquor, of course, there is a short-time recovery. अग्रवाल साहब, सिर्फ आपसे पूछता हूं, इस टाइम पर क्या शराब की दुकानें खोलना जरूरी था भारत में?
ये भी
यहां पर कोई सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग नहीं होता, जो समाज के लिए अपने आप में एक विकृति है, लेकिन खोला गया। आई एम टेलिंग यू द डाटा, आई एम टेलिंग यू द स्टैटिस्टिक्स। A state like Delhi, which collects the revenue, 37% revenue from the liquor and beverages. So this happens. Remittance, Nepal opened of course, right now the remittance is totally declined, but maybe in future it is going to go up. Supermarkets, might be trading units, it might be goes up. Let's expect positive in a short time. And slow recovery, real estate, definitely there will be a slow recovery in the real estate. Development activities will go very slowly, but there might be chances maybe after 1 year or 1.5 years. Commercial vehicles, educational institute, of course it will take some time, year and 1.5 year or 2 years again to revive the things. Banks, the banks are really, there are some C-grade banks where there is a less capital. They are going to merge with the other banks or they are going to be bankrupted. Hydropower, fuel energy, there might be slow recovery. Lost income, hotel and restaurant, this income was, disclaimer was that this is totally my opinion. This is the disclaimer. So hotels and restaurants, that is the totally lost income. They will not get the income for, especially for 2 years. I think that there might be possible that none of the tourists will come. Airlines, in Nepal there are only few private airlines: Buddha Airlines, Sita Airlines, Cosmic Airlines. Even they deducted their salaries, their income by 70%. Even I am not sure if they are getting rest 30% or not, that we don't know. This is the actual condition. And some of the airlines industries, if it will go for 3 more months or 6 more months, very soon they are going to be bankrupted. Travels and tours, this is one of the most affected area. No travel, no tours. So that's why we should go for the short-term planning. I request all the South Asian people, there is no need to go for Switzerland. There is no need to go for Spain. There is no need to go for Italy. Come to Nepal. We are not less than with Switzerland. We have culturally, we are very much attached with the Indians. Here you will get beautiful mountains as well as Lord Pashupatinath, the incarnation of Lord Shiva. So, like that, we have to promote ourselves. Domestic as well as internationally with the neighbors. And in neighbors also, we insist India first. Because India is not our good neighbor, as well as he is our good friend also. ऐसा भी देखा गया है साहब, यहां बर्फ गिरता है तो इंडिया में छाता ओढ़ते हैं, इंडिया में बारिश होता है तो हम यहां पर छाता ओढ़ते हैं, इतना नजदीक है हम। भारत के हर वॉर में हमारे गोरखा सोल्जर्स ने अपनी बलिदानी दी है, और भारत ने भी नेपाल को डेवलप करने के लिए कोई भी कसर नहीं छोड़ा। मतभेद होते रहते हैं, मनभेद नहीं है। हम नहीं चाहते कि मनभेद हो, मतभेद होते हैं, भाइयों में मतभेद होते हैं, दोस्तों में मतभेद होते हैं, हस्बैंड और वाइफ में मतभेद होते हैं, ये बड़ा सामान्य बात है। मेरे और विशेश्वर सर में मतभेद होते हैं, लेकिन मनभेद नहीं है। ये भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है साहब। Daily wage laborers, I am telling you the data of IMF and the World Bank, especially in South Asia. We will keep, as daily wages labor will keep the saving only for 3 days in Nepal as well as 3 days in Nepal. Both the conditions are same, and we are in the lockdown of for last more than 3.5 months. How those people are going to survive? That income was totally lost. Contract employees, they lost their income. Beauty parlors and spa, of course, that is not maybe very important. We will not die if we will go for beauty parlor and spa, but it is a lost income. So this is the income. So how we are going to revive? Some business plans, I made it. Yeah, Dr. Sunita Sharma is requesting remote control of your screen. Sunita madam, please send, please don't control me. So role of the entrepreneurs, I will conclude, already the time is going over. Let's make short-term plans. There is no need to go for long-term plans. Let's do short-term investments. Alpakalin nivesh. My voice is coming. Anyone?
Yes,
Or
sir,
say-
coming. Yes, audio.
Let's go for short-term plans. Manage the employees and related optimization. Managing healthy relationship with contracted parties. Because Nepal is doing 70% trade only with India. India will do 70% of the exports. So we request to India, please think on the tariff rates. Because we are also the member of GATT, General Agreement of Trade and Tariff. We are also the member of WHO. And our currency is stable with India. Our currency is with the Indian currency, linked with Indian currency, not with the dollar. Plan for the policies, real-time policies. Let's promote the agriculture. Reduce the expenses if you can. Incorporating short cycle plannings, managing fundings. So these are some points where the entrepreneurs can apply and they can develop their business. They can develop their organization, because this is the must. Either government has to generate the jobs or either प्राइवेट. विश्वास करिए अग्रवाल साहब, आज से 1 साल पहले मैं बैंक से लोन लेके शॉपिंग करने जाता था, क्योंकि मैं सुरक्षित था, मेरे पास जॉब था. मेरे से मतलब मेरे नेपाली भाइयों से है. आज अगर गवर्नमेंट मेरे को 50,000 दे भी दे एज ए रिलीफ पैकेज, डेफिनेटली आई विल नॉट स्पेंड, आई विल सेव इट. क्रय शक्ति घट गया सर, द डिमांड इज टोटली डिक्लाइंड. If the demand will decline, definitely it will give the effect on supply. And if once the supply is going to affect, definitely the production is going to affect. If the production is going to affect, that directly hit the employment. And more and more unemployment will generate. Because the thing is that, sir, the people are not dying with corona. The people are dying with the fear. What happens tomorrow? I don't have anything. How can I feed my family? How can I survive? We have very few super specialty hospitals. Very few. And near about more than 17% of the people in Nepal, they are living below the poverty line. How can we expect that they will afford that super specialty hospitals? So it's my personal request, as a economic superpower, India, they have to take care of their neighbors, good neighbors. And we are expecting the great, again, I'm not saying help, great support from the India. So यहीं पर स्वामी जी का वंदना अभिषेक करते हुए मैं अपना प्रेजेंटेशन समाप्त करता हूं. जनरली एक भावना है हमारे उत्तर भारतीयों में कि दक्षिण भारतीय स्पष्ट हिंदी नहीं बोल सकते, तो इसीलिए भी मैंने बीच में ये हिंदी, ऑफ कोर्स माफी चाहूंगा, आई ब्रोक द प्रोटोकॉल. मेरे भाषा में कहीं कोई त्रुटि रह गया हो तो माफी मांगते हुए मैं अपना प्रेजेंटेशन स्वामी जी के चरणों में भेंट करते हुए मैं अपना प्रेजेंटेशन यहीं पर समाप्त करता हूं. नमस्कार.
नमस्कार विश्वेश्वराचार्य जी, आपने बहुत अच्छा बोला. और ये सोचना गलत है कि हिंदी स्पष्ट नहीं बोलते, क्योंकि भाषा खाली माध्यम है अपने विचारों को एक दूसरे तक संप्रेषित करने का, और आपने अपने थॉट्स थे बहुत अच्छी तरह से सब लोगों तक पहुंचाए। और जिस तरह से आप ये कहते हैं कि हिंदी अच्छी नहीं बोलते, ऐसे हम लोग उत्तर भारतीय अंग्रेजी अच्छी नहीं बोल पाते, और आप बहुत अच्छी अंग्रेजी बोले। और बल्कि आपके इस कहने पर मुझे ध्यान आ गया, एक बार मैं सैन डियागो में एक यूनिवर्सिटी, अलाइंड यूनिवर्सिटी अमेरिका में, तो 10 डेज के लिए मैं वहाँ रहा। तो वहाँ एक प्रोफेसर थी, इंडियन प्रोफेसर रचना कुमार। तो उन्होंने कहा कि भी अगर आप चाहो तो 6 महीने के लिए मैं आपको यहाँ अपॉइंट कर सकती हूँ, ये मेरी पावर है। तो मैंने उनसे कहा भी मैं इतनी अच्छी अंग्रेजी नहीं बोल पाता इन बच्चों को पढ़ा पाऊँ। तो उन्होंने कहा नहीं कोई बात नहीं, आप इतनी अच्छी अंग्रेजी नहीं बोलते, लेकिन हम आपकी जैसी हिंदी नहीं बोल पाते। तो दोनों की स्थिति एक जैसी है। तो ये भाषा जो है ना, वो खाली भाषा कभी इंटेलिजेंस का पैमाना नहीं है, ये खाली कम्युनिकेशन स्किल है, कम्युनिकेशन का एक मीडियम है। और हम सब अलग अलग भाषा बोलते हुए भी एक हैं, यूनाइट हैं। और जिस तरह से आपने नेपाल को और इंडिया को कंपेयर करा, जिस तरह आपने इन दोनों को जोड़ा, एसोसिएट किया, वो वास्तव में तारीफ काबिल है। और आपका देश एक ऐसा देश है दुनिया का जिस पर आज तक कोई कंट्रोल ही नहीं कर पाया है ना। आपकी स्लाइड पे कोई क्या कंट्रोल कर पाएगा? केवल एक नेपाल ही ऐसा देश है दुनिया में जो हमेशा आज़ाद रहा, स्वतंत्र रहा, जिसको दुनिया कोई देश कभी नहीं जीत पाया। और हमें इस बात का गर्व है कि हिंदुस्तान के पास एक ऐसा पड़ोसी है जिसे कोई नहीं जीत पाया, और उसको जब तक कोई जीतेगा नहीं तब तक हमारी सीमाओं में घुस नहीं सकता। तो आप तो हमारे बहुत बड़े प्रहरी हैं, हमारे रक्षक हैं, सुरक्षक हैं, और हमारे आपके बीच में ऐसा ही हमेशा दोस्ताना व्यवहार बना रहे। नेपाल हिंदुस्तान के लिए, हिंदुस्तान नेपाल के लिए सदैव समर्पित रहे। एक दूसरे छोटे बड़े भाई हम लोग हैं, ये भाईचारा सदैव बना रहे, इसी कामना के साथ हम लोग आगे इस वेबिनार को बढ़ा रहे हैं। मिस ब्रजलाली जी, अगले रिसोर्स पर्सन को इनवाइट करिए। थैंक यू वेरी मच मिस्टर विश्वेश्वर आचार्य जी।
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. That was really wonderful session, sir, by Dr. Srinivasan, sir. Okay, here I would like to invite the very eminent speaker, Dr. R. Ramchandran from India. Let me introduce him. Dr. R. Ramchandran is the Associate Professor of Commerce in Annamalai University in Tamil Nadu, India. Sir has a teaching experience of around 28 years. He holds MBA, PhD in Commerce, MPhil in Commerce, and MCom. Sir has published many research papers in national and international journals and also authored many books, around 5 books. Sir has also published research articles around 42 and is also admitted in academic association and board of studies. Sir is also the member in various bodies such as Indian Commerce Association, New Delhi, International Economics Development Research Center, Hong Kong. Sir is also the member of National and International Editorial Advisory Board and other review panels. Sir has also published his research papers in 2 research papers, one is in Scopus and one in Elsevier. Sir is also awarded for the Best Research Advisor Award by Puducherry Academy Research Association in January 2020. Sir is also awarded in International Business and Academic Excellence Awards in 2019 for Academic Professional Award by GISR Foundation and the American College of Dubai in 2019. Here, I would like to invite our honorable next resource person guest speaker, Dr. R. Ramchandran from Tamil Nadu, India, to deliver his opinion on our today's session. Dr. R. Ramchandran, sir, please unmute yourself.
इस बीच में प्रोफेसर शाद अहमद खान ने हमें ज्वाइन किया है। आप स्विट्जरलैंड के वेबिनार में थे कल। हमारे साथ स्विट्जरलैंड के प्रोफेसर थे मारियो साहब, आज उन्होंने एक वेबिनार रखी थी जिसमें आप शाद साहब की नोट स्पीकर थे। लगता है वहाँ को एड्रेस करने के बाद हमारी वेबिनार को ज्वाइन किया है। आपका स्वागत है, वेलकम है शाद भाई। प्रोफेसर आर रामाचंद्रन स्क्रीन पर तो दिखाई दे रहे हैं, अपने आप को अनम्यूट करिए आप। Please unmute yourself. Professor R. Ramachandran. Please unmute yourself. You are on screen. Yes. Professor R. Ramachandran. Yes. Now you are unmute. Yes.
Very good evening to one and all. Namaskar. The name of Swami Devananda Saraswati. Of
Sir, your voice is not clear.
Is it okay?
Yes, sir. Yes. Now it is okay.
The name of Swami Sukdevananda Saraswati ji and to the blessings of Ananda Saraswati ji. It is a great pleasure to participate as a resource person in international on impact of COVID-19 on global economy. Organized by Faculty of Commerce, SSP, Academy program. As I pay my respects to the convener of the international program, Professor Dr. A.K. Mishra ji, and the organizing secretary of this international program 2 days, Professor Dr. Anurag Agarwal ji, and other organizing committee members, the Vice Chancellor of the university, and the chief guest and the inaugural speech provided by Professor G.C. Tirupati, Chairman of UPS CHG, and my thanks to Brigida ji for kind introduction of me, and my respects to the other eminent speakers of this international webinar, particularly to Dr. B.N. Gupta ji, Dr. Mario Boris Cortolo from Switzerland, Dr. D. Shabiobio, Dr. T.M. Ensha from Ethiopia, and Professor Hamid Sarami from Iran, Mr. Bishweshwarai Acharya, co-convener, and my co-friend Dr. Srinivas Madhavan from Nepal. It's a great pleasure to be here with you to talk on the international webinar about the impact of global economy. As you know, my dear friends and participants and learned professors, how this disease come over to exist, over to collapse the sustainability and survival of our economy over the last 4 years. It's not a new occasion, since we are facing many consequences in economic spheres for the last 4 years, in between the Cold War between China and America, and Korea with North Korea, with South Korea, and with other nations. As there will be a major drastic complexities and consequences exist over in the economic spectrum. So, what happened towards in end of 2019? This has been a new experience which have been faced in 1918 to 1920, which have been caused by Spanish flu in Spain. As now in 2019, as we are experiencing coronavirus. As you know very clearly, the coronavirus caused majorly on not only economy, but also on socio-cultural and environment. As with regard to the prime theme of this international webinar, as we might have to discuss on how this problem has caused the global economy with perspective towards economic activity. With your kind permission, I like to share some of my experiences through the presentation. I welcome one and all. Impact of COVID-19 on global economy. See here, the presentation gone over to introduction, impact of global business economy challenges, impact for global business economy opportunities, impact on global market, particularly on gold, supply chain disruptions, contribution to the gold.
Hello, Dr. R. Ramchandran, sir. I guess there's some technical issue in his locality. He left, I guess. Hello.
Is it audible?
Yes, sir, it is now audible.
Now.
Is it audible now?
Yes,
Now you are
sir.
audible, sir.
Shall I continue?
Yes, you may continue,
Okay,
sir.
thank you. Thank you. So what will be the challenges? What will be the opportunities? What will be the supply chain disruptions? What we have to focus on to develop the global economy on economic phenomena, and what will be the future considerations over for to
Right.
develop the economy from the sustainability and survival and for self-sufficiency. As with regards to that, the contents goes on to introduction, business economy on challenges and opportunities, supply chain disruptions, and over to on V-shaped structure for development of economy, and with regard to concluding remarks. So this is the new part of impact, which various business sectors from aviation to hospitality, from real estate to apparel, from agriculture to poultry, and to petroleum to shipping. The COVID-19 epidemic, which originated in Wuhan, China, in December 2019, has now reached 175 out of a total of 195 countries. It is a prolonged continuation and development and sustainability and the existence of this problem in different economic sectors. Particularly, it goes on to affect, make challenges in different spheres, particularly on building and construction. Generally, it goes on to leverage, and hence it faces to the dual challenges, mainly on high interest payments and lack of sales. And as you know very clearly, it's a major disturbance, it's a major disaffect, and it goes on to dislocate over to impact the economy on global sphere. And over to be the construction industry is affected by 15 to 20%, and which leads to degrow the industry, particularly in this last 5 months. As you know very clearly, communication is very important of any business. ICT role is very prominent, as many countries, as particularly to India, which may be a populous country, which in the year of 2016, India's contribution to global smartphone was 9%. And it has been increased to 16% in the year 2019, where it comes to decrease to 9% again in the year 2020, due to the country's lockdown, which hurts demand badly. As you know, and you have seen that in 2016, there were 9% of contribution from this IC sector, particularly on the turnover of the smartphone, Android, iPhones, and it increased to 16%. From January 2020 to June 2020, it comes to a decrease of 9%. So there will be no production, there will be no sales, and there will be no transportation, and there will be no revenue, and it's majorly affect this industry, particularly on sales. As you know very clearly, the global business is much impacted towards the software companies. Particularly, we take into consideration of Infosys that said that COVID-19 led slowdown has resulted in termination of projects. This may hit the company's profitability going forward, and this in turn can impact the cash flows negatively. When the COVID comes out to exist in the planet Earth, which affects majorly where there will be no movement of people, prohibition and ban of large gathering, and also maintenance of physical distance, social distance, and wear of mask, and 33% of workers, employees to be in the companies, what happened? It happened over to slow down their progress, and their projects have come over to terminate, and it affects their profitability and their liquidity, and also solvency position comes over to a question mark, and it affects majorly throughout the globe, and it leads to negative status. As with regard to the remarks of the Asian Development Bank, it has estimated that the global economic cost of the virus is whooping $2 to $4 trillion. It is estimated to lose over rupees 32 crores, that is in terms of 4.5 trillion every day during the lockdown. So the cost for virus is increasing day by day, and it also affects the global economic system on production, manufacturing, sales, and also revenue. As I want to point out one best example based on Indian scenario, that is Indian food sector. Few brands like Amul, buyers are facing the challenge to pay due to non-availability of banking channel. And as also towards Dabur International, also orders are on hold owing to the COVID-19 crisis. Hello, it's audible?
Yes, sir. It's clearly audible.
Thank you. So here, the fast-moving consumer goods, particularly the Amul company, we take into consideration as a good example, which is facing major challenge due to non-availability of banking support, particularly the borrowings and the credit and also loan sanctioning proposals which have been stopped by the bankers from January. As regards to the Dober International, all orders are on hold owing to the COVID-19 crisis. So there will be a problem of transportation, there will be a problem of working side, there will be a problem of availability of raw materials, there will be a problem of finance, there will be a problem of sales. So in altogether, the global business, as with regard to Indian-based company, with the example to Amul, which is facing a maximum problem over due to this pandemic. As regards to the impact of global economy, as we consider the hotel sector, the overall occupancy in the branded hotel segment in 2020 is estimated to decline by 16.7%, whereas in 2019 it is 20.5%. So it has been seen that the hotel sector, due to the increase in the pilgrim, due to increase in the health tourism, due to increase in the enjoyment tourism or entertainment tourism, what happened due to this pandemic, it comes out a major impact, particularly to star hotels, namely ITC hotels, Oyo rooms, the Imperial Hotel, the Leela Palace, major come over to a crisis. So as you see, now all these hotels have been taken as a quarantine, isolation areas where their profitability, their investments, the return on investment, the return on capital employed, and the maintenance charges may come out a major crisis, not only as the case in Asia, but also in Europe, and also in case of Western, and also in Africa. So as in case of Africa, though it may be less impact, there is a virus called Ebola, which comes out to impact majorly in different picture, different posts, which affect their survival and the standard of living and leads to more poverty line. Next comes out to tourism. As you know very clearly, tourism is very popular, not only for Nepal, not only for Switzerland, not only for European countries or Western countries. India is very familiar for tourism. Many people, even from Western countries, particularly from US, UK, German, Japan, Italy, Brazil, Spain, many countries will come for cardiac issues, cancer issues, brain issues, particularly for this to health tourism. And also for entertainment, they go for Darjeeling, they go for Udagamand, they go for Shimla and many hill stations. As towards pilgrim tourism, they go to Kanyakumari, they go to Rameshwaram, they go to Puri Jagannath temple, they go to Mathura, they'll go to Madurai temple, Meenakshi temple. So all forms of tourism, pilgrim tourism, cultural tourism, entertainment tourism, health tourism is very famous as regards to India. As like many nations, India is a traditional country. India is a traditional country which goes on to believe, and whereas this is majorly hit and it would end up with crippling the industry with a major cause and which goes on to unforeseeable future. Towards aviation, 600 international flights to and from India and other destinations were cancelled for varying periods. Only the migrant employees, workers have been taken into consideration to move from one country to another. Rest of the purpose have been totally cancelled. 90 domestic flights have been cancelled which leads to sharp drop in airline fares. It becomes challenging force to cover the cost after the COVID-19. This sector will take 6 to 24 months to recover. Of course, you see, there are the countries which goes on to implement and which goes on to continue their services, which is a domestic, whereas international flights have been totally stopped, where the economy on this sector majorly affect in many countries and many nations. As regards to steel sector, which have been experienced in many nations, which are exporting and importing, where the lockdown is lifted, after that, the steel sector will continue and confronting towards the challenges on the account of two variables, namely on labor shortage and hampered logistic movement. So as you've seen very clearly, that the labor problem is very critical issues which may goes on to cause after COVID. This COVID, which goes on to continue for 3 or 4 years, or even it goes on for 5 years, even they innovate, they find out the vaccination or medicine. Why I am saying is, even Nigeria, even Afghanistan, Pakistan, many countries are facing this polio. India is a country where 100% eradicated polio. There are some countries even facing the polio problems. So as like this pandemic problem, this corona problem, which may be caused with of RNA, which have branches of 11 types, which goes on to cause majorly, thereby it goes on to take a severe cost over for the labor, particularly in steel sector, and also it hamper the logistics movement over to curtail and control the productivity and buying and purchasing activities at marketplace. As you regards to see the stock market crash, what going on in stock market? You see, there will be much volatility. There will be ups and downs. There will be movements. We can't predict what is going on. So there will be followed in global markets, particularly in New York Stock Exchange and Mumbai Stock Exchange, and also in New Delhi Market Stock Exchange. And likewise, global markets have been followed over due to crash, over in ups and downs, and it's likely to continue in the near future over for next 4 or 5 years, which goes on to affect the GDP as well as the income of the nation. As we goes on to continue to discuss about the digital and internet economy, as now we are going on digital transformation. How this digital playing vital role? Now we are ordering pizza, we are ordering many online products through Amazon, Flipkart, and Alibaba. Many companies, software companies, which are going on to take the issues very seriously through this online base. So online based products and services companies will find new takers, particularly on education. Education is their takeaway, which goes on to give up their line success on introduction of edutech or online education, along with the firms involved with online skill development. So this leads to what? Development of this digital, and it will be a major opportunity after COVID-19, which leads to global success for this industry, and also to online groceries, online provisions. And there will be a sudden spike in the demand side for content, with the digital content being in demand more than ever. So we can't predict, we can't know. Even now in Bengaluru, even in Mumbai, even in Chennai, in many cities in India and other states, I have been seen through media that there will be a shortage in supply of Android phones, smartphones, because many school goers, college goers, research scholars may going on purchase on mobiles, laptops, so as to enrich their knowledge and elevate to their skills and develop their knowledge stream. As my dear friends and dear participants, as what will be the opportunities for the retail sector? As we have seen, there will be so many challenges towards this sector. Retail sector will benefit immensely with the continued fear and panic over that food-based retail chains and companies catering to low ticket consumption demand will emerge as winners. As there will be no fear and there will be a success and there will be a good provisions over to be maintained and has to be followed over for the sustainability of this retail section by means of application of automation, transformation of digital, and goes on to continuation of internet systems in their selling process and buying process. And regards to online grocery will be sunrise sector in the long term in post-COVID-19. As towards the specialty channels, it increased to jump, disinfects, drugs and medicines. As now see many chemical companies, many concerns regards to chemical products, namely from South India, South Asia, and other nations, which goes on to speed up and spear up their concern or in their experts towards grown nations and also to developing nations. And regards to pharmaceutical firm, and you have been seen, there will be a growth in the near term. As India is also application of active pharmaceutical ingredients, shortly API would stand to benefit as regulators encourage investments and incentivize the API industry to reduce dependence on China. So as you see, many concerns, many corporations, many investments have been come out from China, which are expecting the India goes on to be a major area over for the export on pharma. As now we are exporting US, UK, even ventilators, even medicines to grown nations, but even to BIMSTEC and sharp nations and also to Western nations. As you see, pharma companies, Cipla and Cipla, Dr. Reddy, which are going on in sphere of producing more products, and they are tied up with the UK. In UK scientists, the Pune scientist goes on to find out the way for producing the medicine for coronavirus. So they have achieved the phase 1 stage. Now they have to pass phase 2 and phase 3. And if it be succeeded, definitely the medicine will comes over for to cure the corona. And probably it will be comes over in the month of November or December, and it over to redress or to overcome this panic and the pandemic environment. As you see, this trend is going on towards specialty chemicals, pharma tracker, FMCG tracker, and equity large scale. Over from January 20 to April 20, there will be a clash changes. There you see the pharma companies are growing towards up rather than to specialty, fast moving consumer goods, and also towards equity large scale 100. So there will be much scope. There will be much scope for this pharmaceutical concerns, namely for Dr. Reddy Corporation, Cipla, and many more pharma industries, which are very familiar and popular, which over to be a good market at global level, and thereby the nation will go on to get a good spectrum, and there will be a good prospects. That's what our Honorable Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi ji, has started Atmabhiran and Make in India scheme. And what will be the opportunity for the food sector? Food sector has much growth, and there will be much prospects over for to export certain products, particularly spices, chili, ginger and also sesame seeds. As ginger is very famous for Assam and southern side, and also to Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, where they are manufacturing more ginger, and chili is also very famous for Ramnad and Ramanathapuram, and also from other areas in Telangana and also Andhra Pradesh, and also many parts of northern sides of India, where they go for to produce standard products, which goes on to standardize their exports over for to get a good exports after COVID, after this pandemic environment. Education. As you see that the Stanford University and also Oxford University and many universities in US has come out for shutdown, as when as Trump has told that education no for the year. There is no academic year for this year. There is no academic year for this year. So as regards to that, you see all universities in abroad, all universities in the Western nations, European nations, now they have started on online education. As it's not an experience to us, it's not a new experience to India. India is already experiences. We have smart class, we have online education, and it has grown to a maximum extent of $18 billion by the year 2022, where we have to give survive and thrive is the new mantra for players in the Indian education side, and which goes on to speed up the sphere of the new generation, where they will be equipped with the system of generation Z. So they will be well accustomed, well capable of managing this. So there will be no difficulty in online education, where there will be a system will come out a success and give a major pathway for India as well as for many countries. And as regards to financial sector, the major opportunities after COVID, it's time to introduce new digitized lending models using artificial intelligence, IoT, deep machine learning, and other IoT systems. And it also to disperse credit basis business flows such as invoices, GST, and non-assets. This leads to a success for future. As regards to a better health care sector, the major prospects after COVID, which will go on to better personal hygiene practices, nutrition, wellness practices to be raised on the part of public, as well as on the part of the employees, as well as part of the concerns over for their survival and future after BC. Disinfectants, sanitizers, and fitness gadgets to be expected to rise, strong disease surveillance systems, a ready stock of critical life-saving drugs and medical equipment will have more prospects, and more diagnostic labs and modern hospitals has to be established. As you see here, this trend is going on to be downward in March 2020, where it comes out a narrowing of discount in the market from an average of $31 goes to $4.8. So it affects majorly towards the supply side, where the gold is the determination of the economy over the globe, and it affects majorly towards to the transport, as well as to the availability, as well as to the local market conditions due to pandemic. As regards to the supply side disruptions, the gold price discount in the global market narrowed to $4 to $5 for the week ending March 20, and goes on still to January, as well as towards continues to June 2020. Gold recycling could jump once the market opens after the lockdown. So there will be Akshay Tirthiya and many things comes over on cultural side. There will be a sale on online, and which goes on to speed up the business. And anyhow, the supply is majorly deflected, and there will be a culture and a habitual of many countries which goes on to invest their money in gold rather than on securities. And this also clearly says, this trend is also very clearly says on multi-commodity exchange in India over from January 18 to February 2020. And now you see the annual GDP growth in particular reference to India, and it comes to V-shaped position, whereas in 1961 it starts to 4 and it comes to 79, it comes to 10 and goes on to decline. Because of all these declines comes over to a climatic changes. A recession comes out to climatic changes in between 1918 to 2020. So the 4 climatic recessions, business recessions, not only India, which also caused many nations across the globe and which also experienced major casualty and also economic sufferings on the revenue part. And it leads to now in 2023, where there will be much prospects for India as well as for many nations, as far also concerned to US, BIMSTEC nations, BRIC nations, as well as to the SAARC nations, which goes on to gain momentum for increasing their GDP. And what will be the contribution to the global economy? Over from this impact, e-commerce industries has to grow. Video conferencing applications has to generate in high way. Internet and telecom industries has to improve. Entertainment sector has to be generated and to be started and established over to function. Food processing industries has to be spear up and to increase and goes on to identify the needs and wants across the globe, and the funded transactions, agriculture and agri-tech has to be goes on to implemented after COVID, goes on to success for their sustainability. Healthcare and insurance has to exist, and pharmaceutical sectors has to be taken into consideration for the success, and packaging industries, logistics services, information technology, and the information technology enabled services sector and others have been the focus areas, and it will continue to grow in where it will give much contribution to overcome from the global economy impact. So public health also to consider a major factor. India needs to spend more on expenditure towards public health, focus towards the maintenance on clean water, clean air, green spaces, proper housing, drainage systems has to be established. India a major manufacturing base for vaccines. India provide facilities and training for many developing nations and also to developed nations. India establishes R&D for early detection and monitoring of such future situations. That's what our Prime Minister, Honorable Narendra Modi ji, has come out to make a major success in different corners and also attended many conferences and many seminars over for global warming, even in his first term of his period as Prime Ministership. As regards to its continuation efforts, as you see, climate-friendly economy has existed in India across the globe, particularly the efficient internet system and also to remote meetings, reducing transport within the city and between the cities emerged over the policy of Clean India movement. Clean India movement. Public transport systems like expanding metros to suburban areas, tax rebates, export of and enforcement of regulations, tightening existing regulations, and facilities for using bags to get work done, etc. towards agriculture. And social stability paramount, organic agriculture, directing subsidies, and value addition are very important issues over for developing agricultural side. Youth employment. As regards to this, where the entry level, mid level, low end level, which goes on to create more in numbers, mostly in rural and semi-urban areas, and financial institutions also goes and comes out with innovative lending, which creates and establishes jobs with a limited capital over for the successful continuation of their business activities. As regards to the tax incentives, the foreign trade policies, especially towards the incentives for GST and merchandise exports from India schemes, MEIS and SEIS, which has to be a major issue. As you see that our finance minister, Madam G. Sitaraman has introduced, Nirmala Sitaraman ji introduced various schemes particularly for MSME, as from out of 20, as out from 10% from GDP, as like many countries, even America, Spain, Brazil, Italy, and Japan has taken out from their GDP over for their development and survival and to overcome from this pandemic. So to conclude, the coronavirus, which continues to be a spread across the globe, following a trajectory that is difficult to predict, we can't know, we can't predict, but we have to combat the situation. Of course, we have to maintain the guidelines of the government and the WHO over for livelihood and good health and safety, and for good health and humanitarian and socio-economic development for two policies adopted by various nations across the globe to determine the speed and strength of the business recovery and global economy over from this pandemic environment. Thank you for your patient listening. Any questions or any clarifications? Thank
Unmute
you, sir.
yourself,
Thank you.
Redlali. Redlali, unmute yourself.
Yes. Pablo?
Thank you, Professor Ramachandran ji.
Thank
Yes,
you, sir.
Redlali.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Dr. Ramachandran sir, for your such informative and fruitful speech in our today's session. Here, I would like to first of all request our last resource person speaker, Dr. Shad Ahmed Khan, to please provide his lecture after some time, because we have now, because of the short of the time, with our chief guest speaker, chief guest of
Chief guest of the
valedictory session. Valedictory session, Professor Anil Sharma sir from Muhammad Jyotiba Phule Rohilkhand University, Mahatma Jyotiba Phule Rohilkhand University, Bareilly. Here, I would like to warmly welcome our chief guest, Professor Anil Kumar Shukla sir from Mahatma Jyotiba Phule Rohilkhand University, Bareilly. But let me introduce about him. Professor Anil sir is the Vice Chancellor of MJPR University, Bareilly, but formerly he was the Dean of Student Welfare and Dean and Head of Department of Education in University of Lucknow in India. And presently, under sir's guidance and supervision, the university, MJPR University, is currently developing much more, and is many infrastructure and building constructions has been is undergoing, and new courses has also been implemented under his supervision. Here, I warmly welcome our chief guest of valedictory session from 11 other countries.
शाद भाई हमसे कनेक्ट हैं, शाद भाई को इनवाइट कर लीजिए। ओमान से शाद भाई कनेक्ट हैं।
Okay, sir. So
शाद भाई कनेक्ट हो गए हैं, बीच में डिस्कनेक्ट हो गए थे। Now he is connected with him.
So now to invite Dr. Shad
He is
Ahmed
the last speaker.
Yes, sir. Okay, so here, sorry for such interruption. And here I would like to invite our last resource person guest speaker, Dr. Shad Ahmed Khan, sir, from Oman. Am I right, sir?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So here
audible?
I would.
Yes.
Please continue your session, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Whenever people invite me and they say that I'm from Oman, I feel a disconnect. I am a proud Indian working outside for last 10 years now. So I always prefer myself to be called as Indian. But many times people, they invite me saying that I am from Oman. Of course, I'm serving in Oman now. And without any further ado, there was a brief introduction which happened here in Oman that happened for the first time. In my entire stay, there was a power connection for 5 minutes. And that 5 minutes was sufficient enough for me to identify that how much we are dependent on technology. Anyway, I will continue my session today. I'm not going to make any PPT presentation in front of you. Rather, I want to talk and discuss on a face-to-face basis. At the outset, I will take blessings from Swami Chinmayanand Saraswati ji, without whom this program would not have been possible. I'm highly thankful to the leadership of Dr. A.K. Mishra, who is principal of Swami Sukhdevanand PG College, and a very great leader and a stalwart of the college, who is really a star and the backbone of this whole event, Dr. Anurag Agarwal, for conceptualizing the idea and implementing under the leadership of two great leaders, which he has got. And he is really taking the leverage of these two leaders in his organization. Thanks to Mr. Visheshwar Acharya, who accepted the invitation from Nepal to become a co-organizer.
शाद भाई,
जी सर।
बीच में आपको थोड़ा सा डिस्टर्ब कर रहा हूँ। अभी आपका पूरा इंट्रोडक्शन भी बिजलाली जी नहीं दे पाई। सब लोग जानना चाहेंगे शाद भाई के बारे में, और हमारे बीसी साहब को भी कहीं दूसरी वेबिनार में जाना है, तो मैं अगर आप परमिशन दें तो थोड़ा पहले हम बीसी साहब का आशीर्वाद ले लें, फिर हम लोग आपको सुनेंगे।
बिल्कुल सर, बिल्कुल सर, बिल्कुल सर, मैं खुद बीसी साहब को सुनना चाहूंगा।
जी जी जी। एक्चुअली आजकल वेबिनार का दौर चल रहा है ना, तो जो जितने भी हमारे बीसी साहब हैं और गेस्ट लोग हैं, उनसे लोग रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं कि हमारे यहाँ बोलिए, तो वो टाइम मिनट टू मिनट उनका वो रहता है।
ओके, नो प्रॉब्लम।
क्या बीसी साहब हैं? देखिए जरा, प्रिंसिपल साहब से बात करिए, शायद बीसी साहब कभी थे। जरा साहब से पूछो, बीसी साहब कभी कनेक्ट थे? वीसी साहब डिस्कनेक्ट हो गए थे, अभी कनेक्ट हो रहे हैं। 1 मिनट बस, 1 मिनट प्लीज। वीसी साहब कनेक्ट हो रहे हैं, कुछ प्रॉब्लम हो गई थी नेटवर्क की। एक्चुअली यहाँ वेदर आज खराब है कुछ।
हेलो
हेलो,
अंदर ठीक है
जी।
Today, the next day of the international webinar on impact on COVID-19 on global economy. Due to some unavoidable reasons, we became a late and honorable Vice Chancellor of Waltham University, who is not only the renowned educationist, but eminent professor of teacher education, noted education reformer, academic leader, Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Anish Shukla ji is with us, because he has some prior appointments, so that we are making a humble request to Professor Shukla sir to kindly address to the voluntary session of this webinar, and rest of next we have to be arranged. Now I would like to humble request Professor Vice Chancellor sir, who is not only the renowned educationist, eminent professor of teacher education, but is a noted education reformer of UP, not UP. Taken a very much reform lead to elaborate the education system and education quality and quantity in both the way of region. He is has been a past experience of Lucknow University and Rajasthan too. He is a academic leader, honorable vice chancellor. I would like to humble request kindly address to the validity session of this webinar, impact on COVID-19. Yes, we know very well that you are the educationist, you are not a man of economics or commerce. But in spite of that, we are making a humble request. You are a vice chancellor of our territory under which our college comes. And you have always motivated us to go for such creative activities, innovative activities. Under your guidance, we have taken and we have learned a lot. Now, a humble request with the Vice Chancellor, sir, please speak address the validity session. Honorable Professor Shukla, sir.
Thank you very much. I am happy to be associated with this webinar. As Professor Misra told that I am neither a man of commerce nor a man of economics. But being a Vice Chancellor of this university, it is my responsibility to be the part of these academic deliberations which are taking place recently. I was going through the lectures which were taking place here. I heard a little bit deliberations of Professor Ramchandra and came to know that what particularly in the field of global economy after the COVID-19 scenario. Being a common man, I can visualize that in India, if you see the GDP, the major contribution in GDP is from, you can say, service sector. In service sectors, many subsectors like hospitality, food, tourism, they are going to affect very badly. But there is some silver point too. Our software sector, communication system, that area, they are going to hit, they are going to respond the need of society very properly. As far as the scenario of world is concerned, definitely we are connected to each other. What happened in one place, that definitely affect the people of other countries and other places too. So in this scenario of COVID-19, we have to look some alternative models. And what I could visualize is like this. You can be a major player in global economy if your local economy is strong. You see the scenario of COVID-19, a lot of migrant labor is back to their native places. They are striving hard to find bread and butter at native places. If we pay attention, what are the possibilities available? What are the resources available at village level? We can say, if we go for a resource mapping of villages, and accordingly we use the potential of our this migrant labor and local available, just you can say resources and technology for shape to our local economy, then definitely our share will be more and more in the global economy. Just I will say, when I was getting chance to listen Professor Ramchandra, that there are some sectors where we have to work. This is a right time. COVID-19 has given us a very good, just you can say, platform. In new sectors, actually, as far as our education is concerned, that is very, just you can say, very promising sector now. We have to understand the pace of the world, and accordingly we have to make our syllabus, curriculum, delivery system, transaction mode like that. You see the system of word education now, it looks that the traditional system of education now needs a paradigm shift. As far as now the position of teacher is concerned, teacher will not be the property of one institution or one university. Now mega professors will join this education sectors. Knowledge architect, they will share a big responsibility in the field of education. Entourage faculty, that is also a new, just you can say, area where teachers can associate expertise. So in brief, I will say, we have to make what is good, what is not so good in COVID-19 scenario. As far as our traditional just use segments are concerned, we have to see, we have to look into deeply that what can changes be made. But as far as the new sectors are concerned, which are coming after 19, just you can say COVID-19 scenario, definitely we can work hard, digital payment, online delivery, others are in brief, I will say, definitely there is a, just you can say a major challenge before the global economy. Every country is going to face the consequences, but if we are well prepared, then definitely the problems of our society and our country will be less. If we are not prepared, then we have to face the more challenges. Such type of webinars definitely give a shape to plan our country's economic system in the right direction. And I hope the efforts made by SS College Shahjahanpur with the collaboration of institution of Pokhara, Nepal will definitely give a very good platform to the policy planners, to the administration to plan their economic policies in the right direction. With last word, I would like to conclude. If we want to make our economy strong, if we want to play a major role in global economy, Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-dependent Bharat, self-reliance Bharat, that is the only mantra. And for that, you have to identify the resources at local level. And for the full use of those resources, you have to plan. Unless you will not use the full potential of every citizen of this country, our share in global economy will not get a due place. Wishing you a very, just you can say a very good webinar you are organizing, and I wish that the outcome of this webinar definitely will shape the future of not only this country, but give a direction to the global economy too. Thank you very much, please.
Thank you, Leonard Vice Chancellor, sir. We are highly thankful to you, and you spare the time for our webinar. We are giving you very much heartful thanks. Under your dynamic leadership, sir, we have not only organizing the webinar, LTP program, faculty development program, organized under your dynamic leadership and motivation by the SS College. Thank you for sparing some time to us. Thank you very much, sir. You are busy schedule today, that so we make a request if you are engaged anywhere somewhere else, you may go, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Now, I would like to make a humble request, Dr. Saad Ahmed, sir, he has to continue his lecture. The vote of thanks and other formalities will shall proceed later on. So that I would like a humble request to Professor Saad Ahmed to interrupt, to give you some trouble, but you are with us, and kindly address the webinar by your all means. Thank you, and we are inviting Professor Saad, sir.
We are a family, sir. We are a family.
अनम्यूट कर लीजिए बेंगाली अपने आप को। आप बोल रही हैं आप, हाँ।
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chancellor sir and Honorable Principal sir. Here, I would like to introduce our last resource person guest speaker, Dr. Shad Ahmed Khan sir from Oman. Dr. Shad Ahmed Khan sir is the assistant professor in College of Business, University of Buraimi, Santalat of Oman. His PhD in Business Administration, MBA in Marketing and Finance, met from University Communion of India and BCom honors. Sir has the teaching experience of around 10 years and sir has the subject interest in consumer behavior, brand promotion and business environment and many more. Sir also known the languages like Urdu, English and Hindi. Sir has also been done many services such as consultancy services provided to industry and allied agencies and also undertaken 5 research projects under his supervision. Sir has also published 7 books and presented papers in journals around 22 and also presented papers in seminars and conferences approximately 22. Sir has also attended many conferences and seminars as keynote speaker, resource person, and also attended many workshops and FDPs. Sir has also organized many various national and international seminars and conferences as coordinator, organizing secretary, such as 4-day webinars series on professional development webinar 1.0 for professional development in May 2020 in University of Buremi, and also 1 week international conclave in April 2019 in collaboration with UNESCO, Aligarh Muslim University and Springer Publication, in which 2 days international workshop and 1 international symposium and 2 days international conference on startup to scale up was also included. Sir is also awarded for the Academic Achievement Award for outstanding performance in research and innovative teaching pedagogy by Kedu College of Business Studies in Royal University of Bhutan in 2014. Here, I warmly like to invite our source guest speaker, Dr. Shad Ahmed Khan from Oman,
Thank you
to
so much.
deliver his opinion. Thank you, sir.
I'm audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much. Sorry for the interruptions on my end. Since we all are a family and we have to see who is more busy and who is not. I'm certainly not a busy person. So I'm always available. And for me, it was a privilege to listen to the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Anil Shukla. I believe Professor Anil Shukla has left now, but I have to greet him as well. So Professor Anil Shukla taking blessings from Swami Chinmayanand under the leadership of Professor Mishra, Dr. Anurag Agarwal, my very good friend, Mr. Bisheshwar Acharya from Nepal. I'm here to present before you my thoughts on COVID-19. First of all, I will try to make a mixture in while I'm speaking. क्योंकि कभी कभी मौका लगता है हिंदी में बात करने का, इसलिए मैं कोशिश करूंगा कि मैं हिंदी में भी कुछ बातें करूं। सबसे पहला सवाल मेरा ये है कि हम लोग यहाँ पे इस मुद्दे पे डिस्कस क्यों कर रहे हैं? That is going to be the first pertinent question which we are going to ask ourselves. That why COVID-19 is going to be an economic disaster. And there are a series of reasons for it. COVID-19 certainly is going to be one of the special viruses which we ever had. Why special? Because it actually complements our success. It actually complements the way we have progressed. तो ये हमारी कामयाबी को भी दिखाता है, ये हमारे प्रोग्रेस को भी दिखाता है, लेकिन साथ ही साथ उसके जो दुष्परिणाम है, it is also going to talk about the disadvantages of it. So the first thing I want to talk about is why COVID-19 is a problem. COVID-19 is a problem because it projects the way we are traveling around the world. Just imagine if the world would not have been involved in traveling, whether it would have entered into India. I will just take 2 examples. In the year 2002 and 2003, there was a virus called SARS, and India was unaffected by that. severe acute respiratory syndrome, which was actually a type of coronavirus, which actually troubled most part of the Asian countries, but India was least affected by COVID during that time. The reason was, during that time, the travel industry, the aviation industry was not that developed, and the traveling across the globe was not happening that much. So you will always see that these viruses, it troubles more of those countries which is actually which are involved in more type of trade, more economic relationship, more traveling, more tourism. India in the last 10 years, last 14 years, I'll say, India has seen a robust development in terms of the trade, commerce, communication, and of course, traveling. The tourism sector of India has grown to a larger bit. And therefore, India, the reason why India is under trap today, the reason is somewhere the development and the progress which India has marked in the last decade. तो पिछले 10 सालों में जो इंडिया ने जो जो तरक्कियां की हैं, ये उसका एक स्वरूप है, इसका एक परिणाम है. तो सबसे पहले, now why we cannot compare it? Many people, I have heard many economists, they are saying that it is going to be a worse situation, even worse than 1920s Great Economic Depression. But we have to understand one thing. I know I'm the last presenter, and being a last presenter, the resource person has to endorse all the presentation which have happened in the 2-day seminar. I endorse all the presentation, but we have to understand one difference. In 1920 to 1930, the great pandemic that happened, that was an unplanned pandemic. It was a situation which arose that pandemic. Now, the way that depression and this depression is going to be different is, for this depression, the humans, the government, they themselves have invited this depression. Everybody knew before going for lockdown that there will be cascading effect on the economy. But still everyone wanted to go for this depression because there was no other choice. So somewhere in 1920, it was out of situation. The government did not have any option. But in this case, governments, they had the plans before going for it. Now, I'll tell you some of the living stories which is happening around, and it is quite inspiring how COVID-19 has become an inspiration around the world. I will not take big examples like America or big examples like Canada or Great Britain. I'll take small examples of those countries which are often unmarked on the global scenario. And it is important for Shahjahanpur because SSPG College, being a regional college of Shahjahanpur, which is not even a major city of India, has marked its presence on global scenario. Therefore, we have to understand that these small examples are bringing big differences on the global surface. I'll first take the example of Bhutan. Means it was really inspiring for me to know that when the government were planning to go into lockdown and they were trying to establish quarantine centers, the hoteliers came forward, and these hoteliers, what they did, they offered their hotels for free of cost to the government, that you don't have to make quarantine center. We are offering our hotels for free. Anyhow, since the tourism is going to be defunct, these hotels are going to be deactive. So they did not wanted to make their facility unused. They offered it for free of cost to the government, that take these hotels, convert them into a quarantine centers. And the people who were returning to Bhutan from all across the world, जितने भी दुनिया भर से Bhutanese वापस भूटान आ रहे थे, वो सबको 5-star, 3-star और 4-star hotels में रखा गया. Excellent quarantine services. Means often we get the news that the quarantine centers are not equipped, but these hotels were far more equipped to deal with these type of situation, and this was really inspiring story. Similarly, the buses, the travel agencies, the tour and travel companies, they offered their bus services free for inbound and outbound services. जिन भूटानीज को बाहर से वापस आना था, उनको वो फ्री में ले आए, और जिन इंडियंस को या नेपालीज को बाहर जाना था, उनको फ्री में बॉर्डर तक छोड़ा है. So there was no pressure on the government, because in this entire scenario, if you see, the pressure on the government is increasing, and every economist has been talking about that this time our expectations from the government has to be more. So it is some of the inspiring story which is coming up. Now, the next thing which we have to look into is that what are the countries who have been successful during this entire event. We have to acknowledge the fact that right now at least 25 countries across the globe, they got infected with coronavirus, and now by the grace of God, with the prayers of people, now they are completely free of corona. So that it means that these countries can become a case study for most of us to consider. And for most of us, the first we have to look into that how these countries have been functioning. I must mention here that Nepal was the first country who was marked as green country in the worldometers, because Nepal got one corona case and they were able to recover from that case very quickly. But quite recently, because of the other practices, that Nepal is again back in the trap. So this type of situation is known as second wave. Now, many other countries, there are around 60 countries across the globe which have reported to have a downward trend. Means the recoveries are more and the new infections are less. These are called that they are able to flatten the curve. Oman is one of them. So I am blessed to be living in Oman, and in Oman, we have already flattened the curve and now the case rate is going down. Dubai and other countries are following it. For India, the doctors and the medical experts, they say that still the peak is to be achieved. And once the peak is achieved somewhere in the month of September, October, then only the downward trend can be expected. So for India, there is a long run to go. Now, we have to find out where are the problems, why these countries were able to combat this so efficiently, and why some of the countries are still under the trap. The first thing is that we should not only think it is a government failure. It's not government failure. It is the failure of the international organization at the first place. WHO, United Nations, it is the failure of them at the first place. I remember on 13th of March, WHO declared corona as a pandemic. But before 1 week, WHO was continuously saying that corona does not call for an emergency. It means the organizations like WHO were clueless. They never anticipated that this type of thing will happen and the world will get into such type of problem. They never did that. Similarly, United Nations, now the world is under problem. You must be observing every now and then there are border issues with China of India. There are other emerging issues in other parts of the world also. For what the United Nations were established? United Nations was established at the central level to take care of these things. And it is the responsibility of the United Nations to bring everybody on the World Forum. This is the time when the world has to unite. They have to join hand and fight with this problem collectively. Because if this virus is existing in any part of the world, the war against coronavirus can never be won. For example, New Zealand, just last week, they declared that they have discharged their last corona patient. And in the next week, they got 2 infected cases coming from abroad. So like this, the war will be on, means you will recover and suddenly again the infected people will come from outside. And how long you are going to lock down your economy and your country? So lockdown is not going to be a solution. We have to work on the parallel activities. Now the countries which have failed, and unfortunately, India is also one of the examples there. They have failed because of the misinformation which have come from WHO. What happened? As I already said, WHO was clueless, and suddenly they said it's a pandemic. Situation is out of control, and it created a havoc and chaos in most of the government around the world, and they had to suddenly declare a lockdown. Most of the governments, they rely so much on WHO's report that they have to suddenly declare lockdown. And what was the effect of lockdown? I'll take you example again, small example of Uttar Pradesh. There's a place called Bhadoin. It is a carpet manufacturing hub. And you know, at night, they do the packaging of the carpets, and next day in the early morning, the trucks, it goes to the ports for the export. Now in the evening, packaging was done, everything was done, and the lockdown was implemented from 12 o'clock. Now it has got 2 effects. The potential export, it has been affected because of the lockdown. The trucks could not reach the port on time. Number 2, the money got blocked. Number 3, since there was delay in catering to the order, the order got cancelled and this money was entirely stuck. Now there are people who are associated with this type of industry and they are supposed to get their money from it. They are supposed to get salaries. They are supposed to get their payments. That payment got stuck. Now the entire industry is having a downward trend. Already the industry was undergoing a slow economic phase. Now it is going a downward trend because the money is blocked. People are not able to help each other, though they want to help. Number two, what has happened? The top-notch people, the top billionaires. I'll take example of the second richest man on earth, who sometimes is the first richest man also, Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett immediately withdrew all his money from the market. He is now sitting on his cash. He has withdrawn all his money from the market because he suspected that market economy will go down. And when the economies will go down, share prices will lose its money. When the share will lose its value, okay, he is now sitting on his cash. He's not investing it anywhere and he is waiting for the right time to invest this money. It means the people who are capable of pumping money into the economy, they are sitting with their money. And that is the reason the share market is collapsing every now and then. Now, what has happened in reality is that demand, which was already shrinking, it has affected badly the supply side. And now, in some cases, in some country where the demand is regaining, in those countries, the supply side has already collapsed. For example, most of the bordering companies of Nepal, Bhutan with India, they utilize Indian laborers in their companies. Visheshwar Acharya ji can correct me if I'm wrong. You will find that there is a very healthy economic relationship there. The companies are situated on the Nepalese side or on the Bhutanese side, but most of the laborers are being there from Indian side. Now the problem is that since this lockdown has been implemented, these companies are suffering badly because of the labor crisis. The Indian laborers are not able to go back. I was talking to one of the leading publisher in Bhutan, who has his office in Phuntsholing, and he was sharing that he has so much of job and so much of work that he has no space to take breathe also for next 6 months. But the problem is he doesn't have labor. It means somewhere now the supply side is collapsing. So initially the demand side was low, because of which supply was affected, and now when the demand is retrieving, it is recovering, the supply side is going to collapse. Now this warrants special care. This is where the real time has come. The first thing is, this is a time we cannot be entirely dependent on the government. I just took example of Bhutan. We have to go for public-private partnership. All the capable industrialists, all the capable societal people, all the great social servants, they all have to join hand with the government, and they will have to come forward in support of first sector will be agriculture sector, because if our primary sector collapse, it will have a cascading effect on the secondary sector, and ultimately service sector will also get affected. Number two, the second sector to be taken care of, like most of the people have already said, it will be MSMEs, micro, small and medium enterprises, because our employment is actually based on these people. Number three, employment. For this purpose, people, they don't have money right now. Many countries around the globe have started thinking about UBI, Universal Basic Income. Manrega, which is adopted by India, is also a type of universal basic income, but it has a very small span. It is only catering to the rural India. But somewhere I feel it is injustice to the middle class income group of India, because right now, if you see, even the service class is out of job. As some of my friends were mentioning, that most of the companies and the offices, they have already said that they have cut down the salaries by 50%. In Nepal, 40 to 60%. In some other companies, I have heard that they have gone down to 25%. The story doesn't end here. There are some companies which have given unpaid holidays to their employees. They said that, okay, for 1 month, you are out of job. You can resume your service after 1 month. And for this period of time, you will not be paid any money. Now, this is where UBI is going to come into picture. Now, for example, if we identify the households and we give them some income, that can be a solution. Many countries are doing it. Canada is doing it. UK is doing it. So many other countries are doing it. Now the next thing is, I'll tell you an example of Oman, because when it is small examples, we have to also take care of these countries. One of the major reason for the failure of the countries is the healthcare sector. And somewhere you will find that it has been proven in most of the countries now that the healthcare sector was not prepared to combat this pandemic. And this is where the entire story comes into picture. Why healthcare was not prepared? There are two reasons. The first reason is, in those countries where the health sector is in a poor state, there the private healthcare system is overtaking everything. For example, India, there you will find that better services are available at the private healthcare sector. But the problem is it is unaffordable. On the other hand, the government healthcare sector, except few states, it's in the pathetic situation. Now, in this case, I will tell you the example of Oman, what Oman has done. Oman foresaw that it is going to be a huge implication on the pocket of the people who get infected, because when people, they have the symptoms of coronavirus, they were not going to the hospital to get tested. Most of the cases which happened in Oman, they were because of the COVID cases erupted in the labor camps. And these laborers, they are in unorganized sector. They are under unorganized sector who don't have health insurance. So government of Oman, what they did, they had a meeting with the health insurance companies, number one, and they made it very clear that health insurance will cover all the people who are infected with coronaviruses if they are listed in the health insurance. And for the unorganized sector, government took the responsibility that don't worry, government will bear all the expenses for you. So two things happened. Now, with this, what has happened now? Now, those people who are scared, now they're also going to get tested. Immediately when they see the first symptom among themselves, they go and get tested. So this healthcare, especially the corona rapid thing, has to be made beyond reach of everyone. It has to be brought into the reach of everyone. That is my next thing which I wanted to talk about. The next sector which have been badly affected is unfortunately our sector, and that is education sector. I must mention here that I am a certified teacher for online sessions. I have completed program from Casper in blended learning. So I'm a trained professional for conducting online sessions. But when we were conducting these sessions, we also got to know that there is no substitute to the class face-to-face teaching. There is no substitute to it. And most of the people, they are talking about online teaching now. The reality is, how many students have the devices? How many students have laptop? Smartphones, many people have, but how many smartphones are equipped with deal with these kind of softwares? The answer is very limited. Number two, how many students have these kind of devices? Because the entire online programming, online system is based on BYOD, bring your own devices. And we don't have devices. Of course, the private institutions where the people, they have the capacity, their children can buy devices for themselves. But what about the government institution? What about the institutions like SSPG College? Even my university, where our student, most of our students, they come by car of Mercedes and Lexus, we still had students who could not afford to buy laptop and smartphones. We had those students. And our university, since we had the capacity, our vice chancellor was generous enough to distribute 200 laptops with 15 GB data. Please mind it, for those of you who are in India who are getting 2 GB data per day, 15 GB data is a luxury in Oman because data services is very expensive. And if you go by the online session, you will find that this service, this 2 GB data quota, it exhausts very fast. So it means somewhere our education system is not capable and it is not made to cater to the online classes right now. And we have to get back to the normal classes as soon as possible. Whether we run the classes on batch wise or how we are going to do it, but we have to do it in a very better way. Now, the last part which I want to cover is the climate, because it is one of the pertinent issue which many of the people have not covered. I see it as an opportunity. For example, the government of India, they had a yojana called Namami Gange Yojana, which was questioned every now and then by the opposition party ki Ganga saaf nahi dikh rahi hai, kya hua paisa, kya hua. Suddenly, if you see in the last 2-3 months, Ganga has become very clean. It means now Namami Gange Yojana, it's an opportunity for the project Namami Gange Yojana to just maintain what has happened. They don't have to now clean. Ganga has already been cleaned now. The only thing is that they have to take measures so that it remains clean. And that is quite obvious for most of the rivers flowing around the world. I was in Bhutan, and when I was working in Bhutan, we found that there is a river called Raidak River, which actually whose name is Wangchu River in Bhutan. But the moment it enters into Bengal, its name becomes Raidak, and then it merges with Brahmaputra. I was surprised to see its state, where till the time it is flowing inside Bhutan, it used to be very clean. But there are industries exactly at the border. And those industries, they dump all their waste into this river. And then this river is already polluted when it enters into Bengal. Now, these kind of industries, it is the right time to take action on these kind of industries. Because now everything has been cleaned up. Now somebody was saying that Himalayas are visible from Jalandhar. And our speakers from Nepal, they were saying that we are sitting in the lap of Himalayas. So now every mountain is visible. So it is a time now that we have to look into this perspective that only we have to maintain it. The last part, which I again want to emphasize, is how India can become self-reliant. India is one of the countries which has got almost all the type of geographical conditions. Starting from the coldest region to the hottest region, India has got everything. So from agriculture point of view, India is capable, number one. India is not capable from two aspects. The first aspect is from the aspect of the technology, and second is from the aspect of the resources, not the primary resources, but the secondary resources. So now these two things are to be worked on. But for that purpose, we have to first strengthen the core value. Like Marshall once said that if you really want to succeed economically, you have to focus in your core areas. India's core area is India's agriculture. Now, on what thing India is not capable, and perhaps that is the reason why Indian government is taking measures. Oil is one of the major area which India is dependent in term by way of imports. So India invests heavy amount of money in importing oil. Perhaps that could be the reason. I have not confirmed it from any economist, but perhaps that could be a reason why oil prices are increasing in India, because somewhere government want to demotivate the people from consuming oil, because India can never become self-reliant if you reduce the consumption from other countries. But India really have to work on growing its own local economy in such a way that it succeed at a faster pace. And for that purpose, India is heavily dependent on the medical supplies. 57% to 65% of the medical raw material, it comes from China. For that purpose, India has a very strong alternative, which many people are not talking about, and that is Ayush. It is not Ayurveda in isolation, it is Ayush together. Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, Siddha, and homeopathy. So this is the mantra for the health sector now. India really have to invest money in Ayush because they can achieve self-reliance in Ayush. And India has been exporter of all these things to the world, except homeopathy, which majorly comes from Germany. And education, India being a Vishwaguru, India can definitely achieve self-reliance. I don't understand. It is the Indians who are doing job for Google. It is the Indians who dominate the Silicon Valley. Why we cannot have a Swadeshi kind of platform where we can conduct session like this? Zoom is a Chinese-owned US brand. So now India has to achieve, see, this is going to be an IT boom. So a lot of money is flowing outside the country in purchasing these online softwares. And now India's service sector, India's IT sector, they really have to come at least at this level, and they have to create their own platforms where these kind of online sessions may happen. इसी के साथ मैं अपनी वाणी को विराम देता हूं. Over to you. Thank you so much for inviting me here. I thought, I feel that if I can really contribute to your knowledge, it was a privilege. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Shah sir. That was really engrossing speech by you, and we are receiving such a very comments for your speech, like excellent analysis and very well speaker, and so much. Thank you, sir, for your wonderful speech. And here I would like to hand over this session to the convener of this international webinar, Dr. Anurag Agrawal sir, and also inviting him to read this webinar's report.
थैंक यू मिस बिलाली।
Thank you, sir.
ये पूरी वेबिनार शाद भाई के और आचार्य हमारे मित्र नेपाल के विश्वेश्वर आचार्य जी के और बी एन गुप्ता साहब के सहयोग से ही हो रही है, और मैं बहुत कम बोलूँगा क्योंकि टाइम भी काफ़ी हो चुका है। ये मेरे लिए बड़ी प्रिविलेज की बात है कि इन सब लोगों ने हमारे छोटे से कॉलेज को, छोटे से शहर को दुनिया के 11 देशों तक पहुंचा दिया। इस समय 11 देशों के एकेडमिशियंस हमसे जुड़े हुए हैं और टोटल 1589 कैंडिडेट्स ने इस वेबिनार में अपना रजिस्ट्रेशन कराया था, और टाइम टू टाइम वो जूम पर या यूट्यूब पर हमसे कनेक्ट होते रहे हैं। This webinar begins yesterday with the blessings of Swami Chinmayanand Saraswati Ji Maharaj. And yesterday our resource persons was Professor G.C. Tripathi Sahab, who is the chief guest of the inaugural session, and guest of honor, Professor Hamid Sarim Sahab from Iran, and resource person, Professor Dr. B.N. Gupta from Ethiopia, and Dr. Mario Boris from Switzerland, D. Shemebu from Ethiopia, Mr. Tesfai from Ethiopia, and today we'll listen Dr. Srinivas Madhavan from Iran, Dr. R. Ramachandran from India, and Shad Ahmed Khan from Oman. And जैसा कि मैंने कहा, total 1589 participants from 27 states of India and Ethiopia, Nepal, Indonesia, Kuwait, Australia, Philippines, Switzerland, Oman, and Iran participated in this international webinar. I am heartily thankful to Professor A.K. Shukla Sahab, who is Vice Chancellor of our university, Dr. A.K. Mishra Sahab, who is Principal of our college, Mr. Visheshwar Acharya Ji, who is President of Noble Academy from Nepal, Dr. Shad Ahmed Khan from Oman, Dr. B.N. Gupta Sahab from Ethiopia. इन सबके जॉइंट एफर्ट्स से ही ये वेबिनार सक्सेस हो सकी है, सफल हो सकी है। और इस वेबिनार की सक्सेस ने हमें एक और अगला टारगेट दिया है कि 1 जून को चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट डे होता है। तो हम लोगों ने डिसाइड किया है कि हम अभी तक प्रोफेसर्स को सुनते रहे, रिसर्च स्कॉलर्स को सुनते रहे, तो क्यों ना चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट डे पर हम चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स को सुने। और दुनिया के लगभग हर देश में जितने भी कंज्यूमर हैं या प्रोड्यूसर हैं, वो टैक्स सिस्टम को कहीं ना कहीं फेस करते हैं, चाहे वो डायरेक्ट टैक्स सिस्टम हो, चाहे वो इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स सिस्टम हो। इस कोविड-19 ने वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमी पर या इंडियन इकोनॉमी पर जो इफेक्ट किया है, हमारी हेल्थ पर जो इफेक्ट किया है, हमारी रूटीन लाइफ पर जो इफेक्ट किया है, उस सब पे बहुत ज़्यादा वेबिनार हुई हैं, चर्चा हुई हैं। लेकिन कोविड-19 का टैक्स सिस्टम पर क्या इफेक्ट पड़ा है, इस पर हम लोग चर्चा करेंगे 1 जून को। तो देयर इज ए चांस विच आई गिवन टू आवर चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स, और टॉपिक रखेंगे कोविड-19 एंड इंडियन टैक्स सिस्टम। आप सभी लोग इस वेबिनार में पार्टिसिपेशन के लिए इनवाइटेड हैं। हम आप लोगों को बाय मेल जो सर्टिफिकेट्स भेजेंगे, उसके साथ ही इसका इनविटेशन, इसका प्रॉपर डिटेल भी आपको भेजेंगे। और किसी भी प्रकार का कोई फीडबैक फॉर्म या कोई लिंक हम नहीं भेजेंगे, क्योंकि जूम पर और यूट्यूब पर हमारे पास आपकी अटेंडेंस है। और ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा परसों यानी कि वेडनेसडे को या थर्सडे को हम आपको सारे सर्टिफिकेट्स भेज देंगे और उन सारे सर्टिफिकेट्स के साथ में 1 जून की वेबिनार की डिटेल भी अटैच होगी। इन्हीं सब बातों के साथ मैं अपनी वाणी को विराम देता हूँ। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। एक बार पुनः विश्वेश्वर आचार्य जी को, शाद भाई को, वीएन गुप्ता साहब को, अपने प्रिंसिपल साहब को, अपने वीसी साहब को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। और मैं बड़े आदर और सम्मान के साथ अपने प्राचार्य डॉक्टर ए.के. मिश्रा साहब को आमंत्रित करता हूँ। वो कॉलेज के लिए तो मेरे प्राचार्य हैं, लेकिन कॉलेज की जिंदगी से बाहर मेरे बड़े भाई भी हैं, मेरे गार्जियन भी हैं। और इस कॉलेज में 1985 में जब कॉमर्स खुली तो इस कॉमर्स को खोलने का सारा श्रेय भी उनको जाता है। वो ऐसे व्यक्ति हैं जिन्होंने कॉलेज को कॉमर्स डिपार्टमेंट दिया और आज उन्हीं के संरक्षण में ये डिपार्टमेंट आगे बढ़ रहा है। ये कहा जाता है कि जो व्यक्ति वृक्ष लगाता है, पेड़ लगाता है, वो उस वृक्ष के फल कभी नहीं खा पाता है, क्योंकि पेड़ फल देने लायक होने में इतना टाइम लेता है, तब तक वो व्यक्ति खाने लायक नहीं रहता या रहता नहीं है। लेकिन डॉक्टर ए.के. मिश्रा साहब ऐसे व्यक्ति हैं जिन्होंने कॉमर्स का वृक्ष यहाँ लगाया, अब उस वृक्ष के फल भी खा रहे हैं। ये सौभाग्यशाली हम लोग भी हैं कि उनका संरक्षण, उनका आशीर्वाद हमें प्राप्त है। मैं बड़े आदर और सम्मान के साथ उन्हें आमंत्रित करता हूँ, प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर ए.के. मिश्रा साहब। Sir, mute himself. Sir, unmute himself.
Thank you, Dr. Anurag Agrawalji, organizing secretary of webinar, Impact on COVID-19 on Global Economy. The webinar have been commenced yesterday with the blessing of Param Pujya Swami Chinmayanand Saraswati Ji Maharaj. We are heartily thankful to Swami Ji Maharaj under his dynamic leadership, patronship, and his inspiration, us motivated to conduct such a webinar and different events in the college. He is not only the said, but he is an academic. He created cultivated the academic growth in Shahjahanpur, and मैं उनके श्री चरणों में सादर नमन करता हूँ। The inaugural lecture have been delivered by eminent professor of economics, Professor G.C. Tripathi sir. He is a noted academic leader. His thoughtful inaugural address given a various dimensions to be discussed for webinar. He focused the role of various statutory and social organizations and how sustainable development can achieve. He also highlights the various steps taken by Honorable CM Puji Yogi Ji and dynamic PM of country Sri Modi Ji for the development and after COVID-19. The valedictory address given by Honorable Vice Chancellor of Royalkhand Region, Professor Anil Shukla sir. Under his leadership, we are able to organize such webinar. He is not an eminent professor of teacher education, but he is a man of various subjects. Expertise, competency is on the right and left hands. He focused on the various issues of area of present global economy. He given a solution for our country for reverse migration to be Atmanirbhar Bharat. Thank you, VC sir. You have given a very thoughtful, valedictory address today. We are very much thankful to Professor Hamid Ansari sir, Hamid Saremi sir, who is the Vice Chancellor of AIEH University, Iran. He has been a guest of honor to us yesterday and today too. He raises the various issues and he explained how the returning of a new normal. He given in a thoughtful lecture. This pandemic will end. Once it does, delivering services will look very different. All employees will have a new skill that have been a capabilities and structures to continuously regions and deliberate resources use, revenue allocation, policies and priorities are best poised to help you and businessmen return to their rhythm of daily life. Thank you, Professor Hamid Irani sir. Yesterday, our co-associate and Honorable Director and of Nobel Academy, Professor Visheshar Acharya, who given not only the thankful address to us, but he also given a new writing to the times. All eyes on a government right now meeting the need of our citizens during COVID-19 and its aftermath. They demand an approach grounded in technology, boundary thinking, collaboration, and innovative ways are working to live up to citizen and businessmen exceptions, public service organizations, move TV stand, critically situations are flexible and diverse across three dimensions. Thank you for giving us with this vote of thanks to giving a new dimensions to us. Really, this webinar cannot be go on a completion without the cooperation of Dr. B.N. Gupta, who has been the student of SS College and now he's working in Ethiopia. And today we have taken a liberty from Professor Saad Ahmad Oman, who delivered a very nice lecture during COVID-19 period. But we are very much highlighted by the lectures by Dr. D. Chemibo of Ethiopia, Dr. T.M. Indrasa of Ethiopia, Dr. Srinivas Madhavan, Nepal, Dr. R. Ramchandran, India, who expressed their views by the different PPTs and different highlighters and he highlighted the different dimensions and areas in to meet out the global challenge of COVID-19 and those who are affecting the global economy. In finally, I would like to say it is a need to step up to revive their domestic economy and subsequently the global economy. Governments across the globe are preparing to boost their economies while fighting the health crisis, massive stimulus packages, but billions and trillions have been announced for countries to induce to order the boost the economy. Various resource persons also highlighted and stressed on the importance of open trade policies and suggested the countries worldwide to reduce trade barriers as well as investment restrictions. It would help to restoring jobs and promoting economic growth in future. It will also be to ensure the availability of advanced medical products available throughout the world. They have advised nations to work in global cooperation and help the severely affected poor countries as well as ensure all-round economic development of global economy. Thank you. In my opinion, I am very much thankful to organize such a webinar. Only single man, if we have to give we want to give a credit, that is Dr. Anurag. He, from last 3 or 4 days, he taken a tremendous sincere efforts to organize such a webinar. His team, and so many others, those who are not coming on a pictures, but behind the picture, behind the curtains, they are assisting Dr. Anurag, and Dr. Anurag was able to conduct such a nice program. Finally, due to some interruption in webinars, it is a systematic or communication system, a lack of communication system. With the excuse from the all, we are taking the responsibility of all mistakes. We and Dr. Anurag take giving you salute all the resource persons, all the guests, and thank you very much, Professor G.C. Tripathi sir. Thank you very much, Professor K.K. Shukla sir, and Sadar Chana experts, Puj Swami Chinmayanand ji, and thank you very much, Professor Hamid Saremiji from Iraq, and thank you very much for all the various resource persons of different parts of the world. Now, I would like to make a humble request कि SS College, even though not a university, not a big college, but by their leading academic activities, we are taking always initiations to develop such efforts on which one umbrella, the academicians of different countries and different part of the nation, they can be assembled with us. And for such a assembly, we are highly thankful to every resource person, every speaker, and as well as the academicians, distinguished research scholars, those who were associated from us from last 2 days. Thank you, Dr. Anuragji. The one credit goes to you, and thank you very much to all of your team, and my sincere thanks to all the members behind the curtains, as well as thank you very much. Without giving the thanks to Mr. Acharji, this seminar cannot be completed. Under his co-association, under his, by their noble partnership, we were able to do such a webinar, and I want we require such your blessings in future too. Thank you, Professor Mr. Acharji and Noble Academy, Nepal. And thank you very much, Mr. Saab, B.N. Gupta sir, Maurice Boris sir, and Semivo, D.M. Indra sir, Chair Srinivas Madhavan sir, and R. Ramchandran once again. And one man also always assisted us by their technology, because we are a person, those who are not technology friendly, and we cannot forget the services of Mr. Divyans Misra. Thank you, Divyans Misra too. Thank you, Dr. Agarwal. Once again, thank you all the resource persons. Thank you all the associated persons, those who were from last 2 days with us. Thank you very much. Meet again. Thank you.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद डॉक्टर साहब, आपके आशीर्वाद से और स्वामी जी के आशीर्वाद से ये वेबिनार संपन्न हो पाई, और इस पूरी वेबिनार को डिजाइन करने में, इसको पूरा कराने में विश्वेश्वर आचार्य जी का, शाद भाई का, बी.एन. गुप्ता साहब का बहुत बहुत सहयोग रहा, और ये सहयोग हम लोगों के बीच में हमेशा बना रहेगा। आज माधवन जी भी बहुत अच्छा लेक्चर दे रहे थे नेपाल से, और उन्होंने बहुत अच्छी बात कही कि दोस्तों के बीच में, परिवार के बीच में मनमुटाव हो सकता है, लेकिन मतभेद नहीं हो सकता, मनभेद नहीं हो सकता। तो मनभेद किसी प्रकार से भी नहीं, हम लोग भले ही दूर दूर बैठे हुए हैं, लेकिन सब एक प्लेटफार्म पर हैं, और कोरोना ने एक अच्छी अपॉर्चुनिटी दी है कि हम लोग दूर रहकर भी पास हैं। इस अपॉर्चुनिटी को हम लोग आगे कैश करेंगे, और जैसा कि मैंने कहा कि 1 जुलाई को चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट डे है, तो 1 जुलाई को हम लोग एक और नेशनल वेबिनार कर रहे हैं, कोविड-19 एंड इंडियन इनकम टैक्स, कोविड-19 एंड इंडियन टैक्स सिस्टम। तो इसके ऊपर जो पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं हमारे, वो जुड़ेंगे। नेपाल से भी काफ़ी हमारे पास अच्छा रजिस्ट्रेशन है, 200 से ज़्यादा रजिस्ट्रेशन नेपाल से हुए हैं। तो ऐसे ही हम लोगों का एसोसिएशन बना रहेगा, शाद भाई का सहयोग बना रहेगा, आचार्य जी का सहयोग बना रहेगा, गुप्ता जी का सहयोग बना रहेगा। इन सब उम्मीदों के साथ में हम सभी लोग आपस में एक दूसरे को नमन करते हैं, नमस्कार करते हैं, विदा लेते हैं, और अगली वेबिनार में दोबारा जुड़ेंगे। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सहयोग के लिए, मिलने के लिए, जुड़ने के लिए। नमस्कार। थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू सो मच।
Thank you so much,
थैंक यू सर।
Thank you so much,
जी,
Mr.
Thank you very much, Shahid bhai.
Thank you so much, Saad sir.
रामचंद्रन जी, आपने बहुत अच्छा बोला, यू कवर ऑल द सेक्शन ऑफ इकोनॉमी।
थैंक यू सर।
शाद भाई तो बोलते ही अच्छा है। वेलकम सर।
Thank you so much, all the speakers.
Thank you so much all the speakers.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Agarwal sir.
जी, थैंक यू सर।
Thank you sir.
Thank you, sir.
Khan sir, thank you very much.
Thank
It
you,
was
sir.
a
Thank
crucial
you.
meeting for a student like us. Thank you, sir.
Certificate
Thank you.